Hi, everybody. Welcome to Friday morning. Yep, the weekend is finally upon you, and it's deserved, I'm sure. Jeez, this week has just gone so quickly.
Really?
I got a lot done this week.
That's amazing. Because
With
the
all the
sun.
rain and
Yeah.
the cold
Oh
and the
yeah,
gloom
no,
and
that slows things down. But I'm feeling like I deserve a weekend after this week.
That's nice.
No.
Like I feel I'm quite solar powered. This week has felt fucking
Oh, really?
arduous. Yeah, like I haven't seen the sun since what, Sunday?
Yeah.
Basically, like
no,
living
since
in
Valentine's Day.
since Valentine's Day. You're right. That was it. That was the last shining.
Wow, that's true.
Yes.
Jesus.
Woke up this morning. I saw like clear sky. I was so happy.
Okay, well, I'm very, very happy that the sun is coinciding with the weekend because that's where people want to be outside and you can actually do things that are fun. I see the comment section is alive and well already this morning. Geez, people are busy, hey. This is for Simphiwe.
Okay.
Simphiwe, you need to tell us what you think about the Brigitte Macron story. It's so terrible. Too much family fuckery and die geld in die familie, to keep the money in the family. Macron is getroud met sy pa. So is this...
No, people are getting it wrong. You see, you don't follow stories properly.
Give us the tea.
Macron married his teacher, right? So the first lady is not a lady. It's a man. It's a transgender woman, right? I follow Candace. You'll hear the full
Candace
tea.
Owens is
Yes,
right,
please. But I believe it. I believe it to the T. Okay, he didn't marry his dad. Someone got it wrong on TikTok, and now everyone's running with it.
Yeah.
You know, there was I mean, they've done a pretty good job of keeping it secret up to now.
Oh yeah, so like I feel sorry for those French journalists that have been trying to like tell us the story because they were just buried, you know.
Literally
you know what I
buried.
mean?
We've realized journalists don't actually know what's going on.
Yeah,
they get
that's
told.
also true.
Literally, people wave like chicken sandwiches in front of them, and they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, that is
true.
School sweetheart."
Yeah, but the few that were trying to tell us the truth, you know, they were buried. But thank goodness for Candace Owens, who was like, I don't care what they do to me. I'm gonna tell the truth.
She's like a dog with a bone on this story, huh?
Yes, and I believe her. This is the only time I will say believe her.
I think so too. She could choose many other things like safe bets for her career progression, money earning, but she's gone after this one.
This one and the Jews. she really doesn't like Brigitte Macron or the Jews. That's what she's decided. These are two pillars of the Candace Owens house. But okay, I mean, I think it's fascinating. Just, there was a time where, Bill Clinton got a blowjob under the desk in the Oval Office, right? Mm-hmm. And that was outrageous. I mean, compared to marrying a man, if you're a man.
Is there anyone there?
Oh, Monica, you're allowed out. Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm coming to you live from the White House. That used to be a big scandal. That was a big deal. Yeah. Now, in order for even to qualify as a scandal, you have to have been lying about whether you're a man or a woman your whole life for it to qualify. I mean, the stakes are way higher. And you can still become president if you marry a man, if we believe the story. Mm-hmm. Simphiwe does.
Yes.
I'm not going to argue with you this morning. Then that's the entry level for scandal now. I mean, things are just that crazy.
Yeah, a little bit of heterosexual philandery just doesn't even blip anymore.
I mean, like you would have to. By the way, I've got an update on that front as well. The heterosexual philandery. So listen to this. You remember that Lily Phillips girl who
took
had
like 300 guys?
That's the one. 101 dudes. Yeah, 101 dudes lined up and all pumped her. Right?
Yeah.
It was like it must have been, what a horrible scene for guys 4 to 100.
I think
even guys 1, 2, and 3. Guy 1 is like, oh, whew, okay. But the rest, I mean, it's just disgraceful.
They interviewed some of the guys that actually participated.
And
there was one who flew from wherever to be with her. He was like, I'm so glad I got this opportunity. There was another guy who was like in tears. I think he was guy number 40 something. And he was like, I can't believe I did this. My family's going to disown me. And then like guy number 100, he was just like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever do this again.
Oh, well, here's the best news of all.
Oh, no.
She is, this is trending on X this morning. She is pregnant after the 101 Men challenge. Who would have guessed that might happen?
So wait, she doesn't know who the dad is.
Of course she doesn't know who the dad is. You got 101 possibilities
she's got
here.
an idea.
I mean, even the biggest almighty slut in Johannesburg right now is going, well, I can round it down to about 3 guys. She's got to somehow figure a way between 101. And look, it could just be a ploy.
Yeah.
Because let's just say that her integrity is not entirely unquestionable.
Well, guys, what if she was already pregnant and she felt quite swuck about it? So then she lined up the 101 guys just to go, oh well,
That's even
I'll choose the best one.
worse.
And
That's
can raise the kid with
I know, but like the bar's low with Lily, right? But what if she was so ashamed of being pregnant that she just thought, like, if I put this on top of it, it'll be less of a scandal?
Just hang on a second. Ashamed of being pregnant. I mean, I don't know that pregnancy should be thought of by anybody as being shameful.
No, of course
for
not.
starters.
We're talking about Lily here.
As someone who slept with 101 women, she has no right to call anything shameful.
That's also true. That's
like
also true.
Sorry, honey, you left that in your past, along with your dignity and everything else.
Shit, but then, like, where do you go from there? Like, obviously, it's a ploy and it's a reality show waiting to happen, right? Because now what if she has like this miracle wheel of fortune which she spins to try to find the dad?
And then what if she actually does tests and she finds out who the dad is?
That's the thing. So I reckon she has the kid, right? And then she lines up these 100 guys again and they do a show where they try and match the dad.
Yeah, and then we all have to guess.
I'm sorry if I'm making this into a game show.
No, but I think it's a very good idea for a game
this
show.
Is where we are.
But I mean, then that guy will obviously be able to raise money because people will go. Maybe we place bets on who we think it is.
Oh, totally.
That's how it funds the kid's education one day. But then the child will grow up. It's not the pregnancy that's shameful. It's the child's life.
Yeah.
That he's going to grow up with this whore of a mother.
That child is so
really
screwed.
It sucks so badly for this kid. Like, oh, is that your mom? You imagine the first day he gets to school. It's like, oh, here's Lily's kid.
Oh,
little Sammy. Sammy walks in. He's like, hey, everybody. Do you want to be my friend? Fuck no. Be your friend? Your mother is basic. I mean, I just walked through her vagina to get to school this morning.
There it was, covering the gates.
Oh, my God.
Like, there it was over the main highway. Just like a big arch. It was just,
Some people just don't think things through, huh?
Yeah.
But you know what's worse? Is that like in her...
Please tell me what's worse.
In her pregnancy, she's actually going to do things, hey? She's going to, because she still needs to make money. That's the reality.
Yeah.
Until she's given birth. And so there's guys out there that have a fetish for pregnant women. And I bet you she's going to do some content as a pregnant lady.
Oh, that is terrible. Imagine you're that kid, you're inside your mother, you don't know what's going on, and then suddenly the whole fucking time.
Or it's always light because you got your camera lights on. It's always light.
Yeah, there's always light pouring.
It's never dark.
Like, you're like, let me sleep. I need my rest. Oh, it's just horrible. What a nasty, nasty story.
Some people should not have kids. Like, what the hell?
Oh, it's just awful. Yeah.
But also,
I don't know what to say.
If you're a grandparent to that,
grandparent.
Your grandparent is like, it's a proud moment, right? Your offspring is that offspring. But now your offspring is that offspring.
No. I don't think I hope for her sake her grandparents are dead because there's no way that they're going to be like, yeah, that's our Lily.
Well, I mean, her parents have embraced it, so clearly that family
They've
is
embraced
very
it, huh?
dysfunctional. Her mom is her manager. The dad talks about his friends being signed up to her OnlyFans. The family's already dysfunctional, so I'm sure the grandparents are like, "Oh my gosh, you've done so well for yourself, my darling."
Wow.
Actually, Simphiwe is right. She's so right.
We always forget the cultural nuances of life in the show, hey?
Yeah.
She's a pillar of the community.
Goes straight to it.
It's not a great community, but she's a pillar.
She's inspiring a lot of young girls, okay? So,
Oh man. Okay, and then Lee comes in out of nowhere with this comment this morning. Oh, we've got to refer to it. Lee says, I wish they would leave Oscar alone right now.
oh.
That that guy's paid his dues, and I'm sure he'll never have quality of life anyway. No money, new relationship will make him make what he had to endure easier. Okay.
This is the story, right? Some chick is willingly dating Oscar. She's blonde. Her name is Rita.
It's not, no.
Yes.
Rita, and she's blonde.
Yes.
Too close for comfort.
It is very close for comfort. And I think the late Reva's mom is like, well, this woman's got like a bit of a death wish. I think she's made a couple of comments in that regard. I could be wrong.
Okay, so first of all,
but
lightning doesn't strike twice. I doubt very much he's going to go on a killing spree
of
every future girlfriend.
He probably won't murder again because it might get him into prison again.
Yeah, I don't think anyone who's ever been into South African prison, even as a visitor, ever wants to go back there. I don't think that all prisoners are rehabilitatable. I think there's some people who are they're recidivists. They're going to go back and do the same thing they did before. But Oscar didn't. I don't get the feeling that he's like looking to be a serial killer. Do you know what I mean?
Fair.
I don't get the feeling like he's gonna. Oh, first time I could have done this a little better. I think I want to just improve my means of killing. I don't know what he's thinking.
Or how I deal with problems in my life. Maybe.
I do think that this is. Listen, I wouldn't want to be her necessarily. You that is a odd place to find yourself, is as Oscar Pistorius' girlfriend. But I don't think it's appropriate, really, that like Reva's mom's saying to the new girlfriend, "Yeah, you shouldn't really. You got a death wish." Like,
it's called advice, eh?
Yeah, but you got to see where she's coming from, though, Gareth.
It's called advice.
Have you ever met a girl who's dating a guy who wants to get advice from the previous girlfriend's mom, even if she's dead?
No, but Oksala, you want to be able to say, I told her, I told her, and whatever she does with this information from here on out is on her. She can't say she did not know.
Guys, we spoke about dating extensively last week, obviously. And this woman, I haven't seen many pictures of her. I saw like a side profile. She looks all right. Now, are you telling me that she is so struggling to find guys?
No, maybe she likes...
James is single. Flex is single. Yeah. And she's choosing this oak who's under parole after murdering his girlfriend. And that's not me mincing, like...
No, that's what the court found, yeah.
Wow.
Well, maybe we should...
Takes a type.
I don't know. I mean, Again, we're not in there. We're not involved. It's like when people comment on like Ben Affleck and, what's his name? No, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh,
and they comment on that like they know something, or, Prince Harry and Meghan, like when Trump said, I'm not going to add to Prince Harry's trouble. Is that wife of his just terrible? We don't know.
One of the best quotes ever from a president.
I love that the president of the United States told a couple that he feels sorry for the husband because the wife is terrible. But he doesn't know.
Yeah, look, you never know the full story. It's just from the outset, interesting choice.
Yeah, all right. Look, she's made her bed. She must lie in it.
Well, she's made her bed, and I hope she's got a way of running away from it if needs be.
All right. Okay. By the way, someone said it's 1,000 men. It's not 100 that Lily fucked.
No, guys, you confusing them. So let me, clear this up. She did 100, and then she wanted to do 1,000 to break the world record, because apparently the record is 900 and something. No, but her friend, because it's a whole community, then her friend was
there's a whole universe of sluts out there.
Yes, and then she was like, "I'm gonna do one better and actually beat you to it and sleep with 1,000 something." And then hers is even worse. I think hers is. She likes kids. She just wants like fresh out of varsity, like virgins, and she's like, Barbie,
she likes
brother.
The really young dudes.
Yes, the young dudes who don't really have much experience. And then she was with them, and basically she did 1,000 in one day.
Amazing how you just tidy that Oscar story up so nicely. It's the least controversial or weird thing.
No,
on
I love that. You see, Simphiwe is like our keep us honest person here. She's not going to allow us to, when pop culture comes up, she's going to allow us to just get the story wrong, which I appreciate.
Okay, so
All
we are 12 minutes in. Okay, so Macron married his PE teacher basically because he was a nice oak.
Guys, we're 20 minutes into the show and we've got into all of it. We've gone into Oscar, the Macron.
Lily's having a baby, which nobody wanted or nobody was hoping for.
Yeah.
And Oscar's got a new girlfriend and she's happy.
Let's see what happens. Her friend is called Bonnie Blue.
Yeah, that's why I don't like her. Like, she's worse
Bonnie
than
Blue
Lily.
who?
Like, why are you busy with like boys and kids that are very naive and
they're the ones that are dumb enough and they can bounce back from such trauma. They go, yeah, I will go bang that Bonnie Blue.
But it's disgusting. She goes to varsities and has a sign like, I'll sleep with you for like. It's disgusting. Leave these kids alone. You're grown women. Sleep with your age mates.
Someone in the comments, Zelna says, "Is it Lily slapped silly you guys are talking about? The drag queen, right? That Lily slapped silly. No, it's Lily the almighty slut. Okay, the kilometers a cock Lily. That's the one we're talking about." Lee says he will be asked who's your daddy a lot during his lifetime and it won't be sexy. Stacy's mom has got it going on, says Sugar Shabalala. Take that kid to Mars. You're a whore and I can't be in love with a whore. How many men have you slept with? 500, 5,000? Quoting Game of Thrones, Tyrion Lannister. Yeah. Oscar's new lady must be very confident in her bathroom door.
Hectic.
I'm living with Oscar. I'm installing bulletproof bathroom doors, says Carl. Yeah, you see, people are on this. They're very sharp. People, our listeners and viewers have very strong survival instincts.
Yeah, well, we do kind of give them all the perils of life to deal with.
But who's the bitch who did 1,057? Imagine the state of that vagina.
That's her. That granny over there busy with kids.
Might look like it's been shot through the bathroom door.
Yes.
Oh, that's disgusting. All right. And then that Don Kitty says, guys, may I also point out that in these record-breaking shags, not many men actually got to finish in there.
Oh, yeah. There was like discipline. So let me break it down for you. In this documentary for Lily Phillips doing the 100, because that was just training, so that she could build up the stamina to take.
This is like when they show Rocky, like shadow boxing on the steps of the Philadelphia City Hall, right? And then, but he's just before the fight. Now she's just getting ready. But
yeah, she's getting ready. So she was preparing herself.
It's funny how boxing meat was your analogy.
Right.
And so this guy goes to interview her and asks her, okay, have you taken any measures to make sure that all the guys have been screened and you know who they are? She's like, oh yeah, we just asked them to like send a thing if like they have any STIs or whatever. And it's like, girl, you need to take this more seriously. She didn't know how you contact HIV. She was like, oh, is that how you get it? And then
You're kidding. She had no idea.
She had no idea. It's on the documentary.
Stupid,
it's like 40 minutes.
So she might have a house in Vereniging then.
She really might.
But I'm worried now more about this child. It might not just be a normal child that goes to school after all. It might be some frog spawn homunculus that comes out of there with 8 arms and, and a built-in STD. I mean, it's just gonna...
But Gareth, it gets better, right? Because on the day itself, they booked out this Airbnb and they had the guys, obviously, they were trickling in, right? But then
trickling
the guys...
in. Not use the word trickle. Seriously. Simphiwe.
Wait, and obviously there were guys that had signed up and they had pre-selected. Some of those guys were like, can't make it. So on the day of, they were asking the guys that were there, hey, don't you have friends that would like to, because we need to meet.
Yeah, we've got an opening at 87 if you're in.
And then those guys brought their friends and they didn't screen them at all. And they had a shag of like all of 2 minutes. And then afterwards, we see the aftermaths and you just see like a whole lot of condoms in the room. And then she's like crying. She literally cries and breaks down afterwards. And she's like, oh no, I just feel like I didn't like, she felt like she disappointed some of the guys. And we're like, no, girl, no, that's not it. Your body was saying no. And you're like, you in a shock right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's trauma. It's trauma.
Yes. And that was basically the documentary.
Here's
you end
another
up just
take.
looking at her. And like,
again, I don't want to get the nitty gritty of all that kind of stuff, but many tribes around the world have always had this whole takes a village thing.
Yes.
Doesn't she apply to after birth? It applies to conception. So you get the strongest genes of like the smartest person in the village, the strongest.
Well, that's why women.
wily.
That's why in humans, women are the selectors.
Yeah. Okay.
Largely
So now,
for genetic variation.
so Lily hasn't so much selected it. She's taken the town. So what if this kid comes out to be the strongest, smartest? Okay.
Oh,
Again, the 100 that went in there, maybe the genes wouldn't have been so great. But what if, like, in 20 years' time, at the Olympics, Lily's child is like this fucking
it's a decathlete.
There she is.
like
Miss Preggies.
alpha athlete and wins gold
Wow.
for Great Britain. The story on that, because everyone's going to lay claim to like, oh, that's my kid.
Oh, Congo Chris says, I bet that room smelled like a PE nightclub.
Mm.
That's revolting.
And now, like, she's banned from like traveling or going to certain places, which I totally understand because they don't want this nonsense taking place in
Can you imagine being that Airbnb? how does the Airbnb review Lily?
Yeah, I mean, do they put among their reviews, like, remember, this is the place that hosted Lily Phillips and her shagathon.
Oh my word!
I mean, I don't know. There are going to be sickos that will want to be sleeping in that bed or whatever. There are people who will.
I'd just love to read the review from the place.
Yeah, or I don't think she left the review. I don't think she's like
No, but
conscientious.
the person always reviews you as well.
Yes, I know.
Two-way thing.
Must have said, well, there was a lineup. There were guys lined up round the block, and
Surprisingly well kept after the kilometers of cock that Lily brought into the unit.
and we had to deep clean every part of that room.
They would
With
have had to keep the
I
windows
would
up.
not want
sulfuric
to-
acid.
No, I would not. Like, if I knew that was the Airbnb where all that nonsense took place, best believe I'd not want to. Like,
They would
go
have
there.
to have given that
Oh, well.
room. They have to have given the room smelling salts by itself.
Listen, I mean, it is a rare thing that 100 guys bang a girl in one room, but there are probably B&Bs that you might have stayed in where also some terrible
Oh,
things have
absolutely.
happened.
I've stayed in some places where truckers have done things, no doubt.
For sure, right?
When
You don't know.
travel-
You go to a hotel.
That is
You
so
don't know
true.
who was there before.
Yeah,
You
some
don't know if it
murders
was
might
like-
have taken place. Yeah.
Yeah,
in,
but
in
you
my,
also
in
don't
my
know.
DJing days, I found UV lights, the places I went to sometimes for Jaws.
Jeez. Don't think about it too much. It's going to make you very uncomfortable.
I haven't until now.
All right. Lily and the Sea of Engorged Cocks, says Lee. That's what it should have been called. Lily likes Willy. Okay, Lee, yeah, you can stop now. That's I know you're getting very carried away. This Lee she's on a mission. All right. Just put up Lily fucked silly as opposed to Lily slapped silly. Just show what I think the kid. I just sent you a picture now, James. What I think the kid will look like
Oh, hectic.
after everyone's
Been
because
there.
she doesn't know. Like everybody's stuff mixed, and you haven't got it yet. Okay.
Be one of those big, like the follow-up shows, like where are these guys going to be in 10 years' time?
Nowhere. Like, what
The
man
guys.
in his right mind would actually participate? I'm judging. Oh, a shout out to the guys that wanted to participate and then didn't. I actually have more respect for them.
What you mean? Like they pulled out?
Literally.
Okay, but
There's a shirt.
yeah,
Lily can have a
I
merch
pulled
line
out.
here.
I was meant to bang Lily, but I pulled out. That
Guys,
would be
I mean, she can make a bit of cash here because she can sell 100 shirts. Everyone who went there, they can buy a shirt with their number on.
yeah.
And then the guys that pulled out can also buy a shirt saying, I pulled out of Lily. Lily 100.
Yeah, I don't think there are going to be too many guys who will want this on their CV. Post, like in 5 years' time, they're not going to want anyone to know.
Gareth, if your life is basically pints at 11 o'clock, fish and chips every single day, and I don't know, Axe body spray, this might be a thing.
No, but think, like, she's hot now, right? She's 23. She's the in thing in terms of OnlyFans. In
The
5
in thing.
Yeah, I mean, in not even 5. In 2 years' time, there's going to be somebody else doing something even more ludicrous, and they'll be the talk of the town, and then those same guys will want to shag her.
Yeah,
So
you're not
Are
wrong.
you saying her fame is fleeting?
definitely, in fact, within a few months, I mean, she's pregnant. What?
There's the child. That's what I
Yeah.
think the child's going to come out like.
Nice jawline.
That's what the child's going to look like. Because, I think you just go way too much like.
Okay, so I've gone checked for where does Lily live? Okay, she's from Derbyshire. That's not a terrible place, is it?
No, it's not horrible. That's up in it's near Cheshire, Manchester, that sort of area.
She went to
Derbyshire's
Sheffield
not so
University.
bad. She went to university.
Yes, that's where
See,
she started her
I-
promiscuous ways.
I told you, I said before, it's a very bad idea for women to go to university.
Yep. You've been saying it for so long, Gareth. You and your Taliban
I have.
friends.
I did. I've always said it's a terrible idea for women to be overeducated. They become
Look at it now.
terrible slappers. you
it now.
know, it's just. But no one listened to me then, and no one listens to me now. By the way, the rumor is that plane that flipped over onto its undercarriage. Do you remember
Canada,
the plane that was upside down? Rumor has it was a woman pilot.
Oh, hectic.
Okay, again, let's just. I think that this whole equality thing has gone a little far when we start to put people who turn planes upside down ahead of, people who are more merit-based and probably more qualified.
How has the
and
media
have more
spun
hours.
that? Because I mean,
I don't know. They're
there was
not
a
talking.
plane that landed on
We don't
ice.
know. They won't actually tell us that it was a woman pilot, which means it was a woman pilot.
No, it could be
No, I'll
just
tell you
a
why.
random drunk guy.
No, because this airline in particular puts out TikToks and music videos with girls being girl buses, and they have what they call unmanned flights, where there's no man on the crew.
Damn, I tried.
I know.
Not
I
one
know.
on the crew.
No, you did try, and you're right to try because give them the benefit of the doubt here. But Endeavour Air is what they call. They're a division, as I understand it, of Delta. And they have literally pinned to the top of their account for the last 6 to 8 months this video of all the girls going, and I kid you not, like we can try and find the video, but it's like all the cabin crew and the pilots who are all women going, "Live fast, die young." You know that song?
Yeah.
Which is not a song you really should use to advertise
Not aviation
an airline.
related.
Live fast, die young. Not the message you want. Live fast, die young. Bad girls doing well. Something like that. And yes, they are bad girls if they land planes upside fucking down. Anyway, so that's interesting. That's happening.
That has just awakened my inner misogynist. No men on a
Yeah.
flight.
Yeah.
That would scare the living crap out of
Yeah.
me.
The one place that,
No,
that
it's just
I
like
think-
you have to, because men have had more experience over generations with this kind of thing. I'm not saying women can't do these things, but
no, of course, they're
you
very
can't
good
have
women
0
pilots.
men on a fucking team because you need backup all the
So
time.
the point is, when the first filter for people is their gender, that's a bad thing. The first filter should be competence. When I get on a plane, or when I sit down in a doctor's office, or when it's something to do with the prospect of my longevity being narrowed substantially, I want the best person. I don't care if they're old or young, black or white, or male or female, but I want the best person. Don't put all those other things ahead of them being the best person. When you go under anesthetic and you're not conscious, and the person putting you under anesthetic is not good at what they do, your chances of coming back from that are not so great.
Slimmer.
Yeah, and the same getting on a tin can in the sky that is going to fly at very fast speeds through storms.
Ability to fly and land.
Land and
precedes
take off.
TikTok.
Landing and taking off are the tough parts. Okay? I want that person to really know landing and taking off very well. I don't have any problem with it being a woman, but let her be the best. Not on a music video with the other girl bosses dancing. If I looked out of my window before my plane takes off and I see this music video that I'm talking about, where these chicks are dancing on the tarmac next to the plane, making a TikTok, instead of getting in the cockpit and reading the various things, going through their pre-flight safety checks and all that stuff, I'm not going to be so happy. That's not the best time to make a TikTok. It reminds me of during COVID when you had all these nurses and doctors like singing songs and dancing while people are fucking dying in the hospital. You're like, no, now's not the time, guys.
Yeah, well,
Look up
Gareth,
this Endeavour Air. You'll see I'm not making it up. I'm not being unkind. Hey, by the way, speaking of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're never going to get Starlink, guys.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
our hopes weren't either.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying, oh, but Starlink's expensive. But wouldn't you like to have the choice Wouldn't you like to have all the options? And then if you wanted to choose Starlink, you could, because it'll work in places others won't, like in the middle of the Drakensberg.
Oh, we're a country that would need that. It'd be really great.
Yeah, and for
Great
rural
communities.
people. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if all these NGOs that are trying to get internet into schools, for example, some very laudable and excellent goals. Sometimes these cell phone networks we have just don't get there.
And it's hard for them to justify the infrastructure to get there.
Right. And this whole Starlink thing would come from satellites, which are orbiting the Earth. In other words, you would have uninterrupted cell phone signal or internet connection wherever you might be in the country. But we're not going to get it. So it's all a moot point.
But it's also coming from Elon, who obviously there's an ego thing here, and many people in this country who make these decisions are anti-Elon.
Yeah, they hate Elon. Well, I mean, Elon has...
But I'm glad it didn't come.
Have you seen what he said about traveling to South Africa? Sorry, Sims, just look at this. Have you got the picture there? Because Ben found this.
Oh.
We often do like travel advisories on this show. We do
keeping the Friday festivities.
Our window seat, but yeah, I mean, this is good.
Like, Elon's been saying a lot about this country, and I think there is an element of good and bad. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
And I think this one might not be within line with our, Visit SA kind of
South Africa live with possibilities.
Yeah, it's not quite the.
So,
playbook.
what were you going to say before we get to the picture?
I was going to say that I'm actually glad Starlink is not coming to South Africa because our government would have fucked it up.
Well,
no, they wouldn't have.
No, yeah, because
they wouldn't have been involved. They are fucking it up. That's the reason it's not coming.
But I'm saying, how our government, they always find a way to get their hands onto something, and even something so great, and when you think about it, you're like, this could work. Our government.
Yeah, but they would. That's exactly why it's not coming, because they wanted.
Yeah, you see?
They wanted to put their greasy, dirty, thieving hands into the pie of Starlink before it was even here. They're not like.
They're already thinking of corruption.
Maybe they didn't go to him and go, you want to come into this country. I mean, they're in Zimbabwe, Starlink, okay? They're in Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe even knew to not impose stupid shit on them. But our government could have said, like, okay, can we ask that 5% of the Starlink, the profits go to helping under-resourced township schools or rural schools, which is a great combo that could have worked out well for everyone. And it can go straight to the schools. It doesn't have to come through us, because we know you don't trust us, Elon. He doesn't. But instead, they were like, well, we've got our comrades over here who want their share. There are a few BEE guys who are... they're taking a break from eating at La Parada in Waterfall to come to this meeting to stake their claim to some of your money, Elon. That's what they did, right? So that's gross, and obviously he's not going to give any of that away. It's only dumb post-94 white South Africans who are in business and feel guilty that gave free stuff to Cyril and Tokyo and all those guys who are very, very rich. Very rich. Did they give any of that? Did it all trickle down to like young black entrepreneurs who are starting their own thing now and getting some advantages from the system? Hell no.
No.
So why should Elon want to give any money to those already evidently corrupt people that he's treating with?
Happily corrupt people.
Happily, man.
Boastful as well.
Did you see Cyril? Like, he spoke at some event. I mean, he's so excited about the G20 coming here.
Oh, gosh.
But nobody else is, because guess what? For us, there's no benefit. I mean, there might be a conference center in Durban that makes some money this year because of it. That's it.
Is that where they're having it?
That's where they're having it.
In Durban?
In Durban. Yeah, the place.
So disastrous.
No, but the SA Open golf tournament's in Durban next week. They're cleaning some stuff up. So the more of these events go in there, they might have.
I hope so. I mean,
I don't know.
I love Durban. I'm not going to say that I take any joy in Durban falling to pieces, and it's been run pretty fucking badly. But if that'll help a little bit, then cool. But I don't see it making any difference. And also, by the way, there's the G7, there's the G8, there's the G12, there's the G20.
Wait, why is so many G something?
Because they keep adding like nonsense nations to this list.
Yeah, the fact that we're in the G20 means that there's.
And also, can
Oslo.
someone explain to me what the difference is between any of those various Gs, right? Or Davos, where it's the World Economic Forum, or the United Nations Security Council? Like, just explain to me which one we should actually take seriously. Like, which one of these is where really important decisions get made? Because it seems to me that none of these no one's ever gone, yeah, well, you remember that decision that was made at the G20 in 2014, that was very, very momentous. That was the moment that everything changed in the world. I think they just get together, free flights that the citizens are paying for with tax money. These leaders get together, they slap each other on the back about how much they've got away with without anyone putting them in jail. And they fuck hookers, because that's what they do. You know the most expensive hookers in the world? Davos. During the week of the Davos.
Well, they got to fly in too.
The most expensive prostitutes in the world. They fly in from all over because they know that's the time to cash in, right? Yes. Maybe that's what Lily's building up to.
So maybe that's
why she's dealing with these numbers like G20. She's going to do the G100. You know, it's going to be Lily, most expensive prostitute in all of Davos.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's funny how it often comes back when you look at it like a situation, try to find worth. It's the prostitutes that benefit. They're the only ones that actually win.
It's the oldest business in the world.
They're the only ones that win out of these G summits.
They are. It's them and the couple of people who work at the conference center.
So then, are prostitutes actually running the world if they can get these things together so frequently?
Who run the world? Girls.
Whores.
Who run the world?
Whores. Maybe that's what it comes down to, guys. We've now solved the riddle of why these things come together. It's because some madam is actually running the world.
Where's that Elon tweet? Have you got it?
Pulls together Davos, all that kind of stuff.
Listen, by the way, I don't know how Elon finds as much time as he does to tweet. The guy's running 100 companies. He's running Doge.
Love it.
Sure, but he loves Twitter more than anyone else. I'm glad he owns it because he loves it the most.
Do you know how mentally fucked up you got to be on Twitter for that much of a day and interact?
And I'll tell you what, like, you're not getting great feedback, even if you're Elon Musk. Okay, so here it is. Let's take a look. Cape Town is essentially a beautiful theme park and it's generally kept safe for the tourists. So staying in the tourist areas is probably okay. Other parts of the country can be extremely dangerous for a woman traveling alone with no gun. That's not wrong.
But I don't like the fact that he added with no gun. He sounds very American there.
If visiting a trusted friend, listen very carefully to the directions of that friend. Do not get lost or go exploring without an escort. Oh, not that kind of escort.
Okay, horse around the world.
Well, okay.
Elon's saying you got to...
So you don't like this. I don't think that's a terrible...
No, it's not that I don't like it. I think it's just one of those dangerous things that everybody who goes now overseas wants to come here. It's like, well, it's everywhere is dangerous, right? You can go to so many countries as a woman without a gun and feel horrible and feel unsafe.
I do think we have unprecedented levels of violence against women in this country. That's probably what he's
started out with the Oscar story. I get you.
But I also want to start out by saying, I don't know. Yeah, Elon, I'd take his advice on a lot of things, but this guy thinks Mars is a tourist destination. Okay. Here's my Yelp review of Mars, okay? Without having to go there. Air unbreathable. Here's a video. Have you got the video of Mars? Let's show you what Mars looks like. Not much to see. Terrible hotels.
Hectic.
Have to take your own oxygen.
Very far.
Takes a long time to get there. Yeah, look at this. This is what you're going to. Okay. Listen to the wind. Okay.
You can find that in Saudi Arabia much shorter time.
Thinking. It doesn't help if we talk now because they can't hear us. Okay. All right. Well, there we go.
So I'm like 60-40 on Elon. I agree with like 60% of the stuff that he does, champions and says. But then the other 40, I'm like, yeah. But I appreciate his 60.
You don't have to be a fanboy, right? I mean, like you can appreciate the good that he's doing. You can appreciate that he's a highly successful, highly efficient, thoughtful kind of guy. But he's weird as hell. I mean, there's this new story this week. But okay, my point with showing that video is this is not the guy to ask about like tourist information.
Yes.
We do a thing on the show here every second Wednesday called The Window Seat. That's better. Get your info from the experts in that field.
I agree.
But this guy wants to go to Mars. So I would take it with a pinch of salt when he talks about Cape Town or South Africa or any of that stuff. I mean, we're all living here and it ain't so bad.
I sometimes think that guys like that is that they need the far out to stretch all their ideas. Elon's got so much in his head that he can't keep them terrestrial. It's like Lily. She has such a hankering for cock. She can't look at a relationship. She has to look at a 300-person game.
Wait, then you can't put Elon and Lily
Guys,
in
it's
the
the same.
same.
You can. She's a master of her art.
Guys, if you just hear me out, like if you come back from the grocery store, right, and you've got fuck tons of stuff, right, you don't just put it on top of your stove or push it in the fridge. You need a big table, okay, ridiculously sized table. It's like Elon. All the stuff in his head is so much. He has to have Mars as like his out there, okay. So everything leads into that. Same with Lily. Insatiable desire for so much cock. She can't just have a boyfriend. She has to have that.
Okay, so the other weird thing about Elon is apparently there's another kid from another woman. Okay. So, look, he can afford it, but that doesn't mean he should do it. He's got, I don't know how many kids now, but there are at least 4 different wives. Now, I've often joked that if I had lots and lots of money, I would make 5 different kids with 5 different women and then make them compete every year. And then I'd keep the winning one. The one who was the best at all the things,
just for the year, and then they come back again for
no. The others would be sent for to the orphanage. But I was joking. Okay, but I was joking. I think Elon's actually doing this.
Yes.
Guys, this is exactly my point, right? Because he has so many ideas and so much life in him, he has to have lots of kids with other people.
But we're not making an excuse.
No, but
for him, right?
he's done an interview where he shares that he genuinely believes that the earth is underpopulated and that we need more people on earth. And so this is him.
He's personally him and Lily.
Yes, he's playing his part on making sure there are enough people.
So technically
on
there are then overlaps between Lily and Elon.
Guys.
I mean, I hate to upset you.
The two of you poo-pooed me straight off the bat. But he is right.
We decided last week no poo-pooing on this show.
Exactly. But if you look at it, he is right. In developed areas with declining birth rates, like Japan's been fucked for ages.
Yeah.
The Scandinavian countries.
No, the problem is they haven't been fucked for ages.
Yeah, well, true. But that's the declining birth rates.
People in those countries are being paid money to have children, which is kind of like South Africa, except here you're supporting a whole bunch of children that you did not decide to have or that are not yours.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there are kids all over this country who are on welfare. And Cyril boasts about this, 26 million people on social grants in this country, which, by the way, is not a lot of money, hey? A couple of $100 a month, 300 and something. That's not enough to live on. We shouldn't be boasting about that because it's a terrible small amount. And these people don't have jobs. And the tiny number of people who are tax-paying citizens have to keep paying for that. That's bad. Yeah. So Lily and Elon may have a point. But like there are caveats to all of this. Okay, so let's get to some sport because otherwise we will end up being at 8:00 and we still haven't done the sport. Ben has prepared some stuff for us.
It's almost like you don't value it, Gareth.
No, I do. And I know Simphiwe is especially excited to hear if Accrington Stanley may be playing this week.
Guys, we need to give them a break. They lost last week again. I mean, that's like 4-5 in a row now, guys. And I can't help but feel ever since we started reporting on them, they've been dog shit.
Okay, we'll start.
So look,
supporting
do they know where Lily lives?
Can we just give Accrington Stanley a week off? Let them breathe a bit. Because I think the expectation that a South African show is now following them has got them sweating in the dressing room.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure the coach goes in there, guys. Right, the real network's following us, guys. We need to get this together because they have been horseshit since we followed them.
All right,
okay.
Pressure's off.
Let's let them breathe.
But you got this, boys. You got
Much like Lily's vagina, let's just let Accrington Stanley breathe.
I just want to see who the coach is so I can follow him and then put extra pressure on.
He's been taken off social media with all the comments from the show.
All right.
Guys, I mean, they had a bumper that they sold all the tickets for the Valentine's pea pies and gravy evening last week.
Oh, people actually went.
Of course. Oh. Someone's mom was singing. There was a raffle.
Oh.
Okay, so not Accrington Stanley, but the Bulls. They are playing the Lions. It is the only URC match this weekend because Six Nations is back. So the Six Nations countries, they're all going to go do that. So there's one game these teams have to then catch up on because the Lions, I think, 2 games behind the rest in the log.
Okay.
So they'll be at Loftus at 2.
Now, Loftus gets 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. But it's been pissing with rain the whole day. That field was already fucked from some concert. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be rough. It's going to look like shit. But if you get there early, there's also the fight night. Oh, fuck's sakes. The fight night bonanza, basically, right? So I was a bit premature because I made the mistake of listening to radio a couple of weeks ago. The fight thing is happening before the game this week.
Okay.
So if you go
if there was a fight last week, that was a voluntary
that
thing.
was probably just
an argument that broke out and turned
so
violent.
it's Pretoria versus Joburg, right? It's the Trans Yukske derby, and the Yukske is already flooding this week, so it's already dramatic.
Yes.
But if you get to the B fields before the game, you can watch fights. Okay, so Mak Rapapali, he's a Jacaranda disc jockey.
Oh yes,
Sure.
He's fighting against Wesley Gabriels.
Who's that?
Wesley
Is that
Let's just go with him also
radio
being a DJ. And then you can see Sebastian Rothman versus Shadow Shabane.
Okay.
And then Lionel Mapu, who used to play for both the Lions and the Bulls.
And fell on hard times.
He's fighting Manus Boshoff.
Manus Boshoff.
Manus.
My money's on him.
My namus.
So those are going to have a bit of a...
How does it go?
Those are going to proclaim before the match. Guys, I mean, that's pretty exciting. Get in there. Loftus, what a day out. It's going to be a shit game.
I don't think maybe you explained this to me before. I don't remember. These are actual fighting people.
No, these are just personalities and ex-players.
But they've got like a
ring.
Boxing ring up.
Yes. There's going to be an amateur boxing spectacular.
Because what? The guys at the car bar fighting with each other over that's not good enough.
You've got to mix it up when you're hosting people, right? Like, you've got to have live bands and you've got to have all kinds of stuff.
All right, so you had Cameron Simon on your show the other day on the bouts,
yes.
right? And it was terrific. And he mentioned his Murabur.
Yes.
So is that he's doing another season of that?
So season 1 of Murabur, you go
seems to me there's a lot of people trying to promote people
fighting. Yes, because it's how societies connect. So
societies connect.
If America is offering Afrikaans guys, who's going to do Murabur?
Exactly. That's why we got to
There's
keep
some
our
black
Buddha,
farmers where they
it's not the same.
It's not quite the same because,
it's not the same.
because I'll tell you why it's not the same. Because there's not historical beef amongst black farmers, right? So what Cam was telling us is that there was beef between the Millie Oak from Brits.
Yeah.
Against
the guy who put his borehole into the same reservoir as the other guy and
so there
stole
was
his water.
So there literally was flace between these oaks, right?
Okay.
And that's how this thing started. It's like this oak will probably want to fight against that oak, and they literally handpicked them.
Oh.
Then season 2, 190 farmers then applied to be on the show.
Okay, but these farmers are this is just a wealth of real, as you say, beef and issues, because you've had that one Boersoeke Vrou, right? Which is a show where these Afrikaans farmers, they're the ones who are trying to, and not just Afrikaans, actually, to be fair, and it's not all white either, but Boersoeke Vrou is like the same market, effectively. And they're looking for a wife.
Yes.
Now they're looking to moor another boer.
This is why we have to protect.
I mean, we've got to look after our farmers.
We've got to protect these oaks.
They
are the backbone of this country.
Stay.
They're incredible. So that show was going to happen this year. Eventually, Cam worked out that 70 of them do have amateur boxing backgrounds. So you had to scrap them. But still, about 120 of these oaks are going to go into the mix, and then they end up fighting a main night. Okay, so that's a very different story.
And this guy who's fighting this weekend is called Manus.
No, Manus Boshoff. He used to play flower for the Lions.
Oh, okay, but we've got a song about a guy called Manus, don't we?
It's Manus.
Manus. All your finger ate mine anus.
No.
Don't we have that song, Flex?
I feel like you're sullying my very professional sports wrap-up here.
I'm pretty sure someone even in the comments came up with this. Very good. All right, so back to you, Ben.
Yeah, so I mean, look, that's local rugby, but the Six Nations is where it's at this weekend for the rugby, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So Ireland, I hate Ireland. Not the people, the rugby team. They're such a bunch of dicks. They have won their first 2 games of the Six Nations. They pretty much are the favourites now because they got a good draw in that. They had England at home, they won. They then trounced Scotland, but Scotland are pretty average at the moment. France lost to England, which was a massive bummer for them. So this weekend, none of those teams are playing each other just yet. So it's Wales versus Ireland. Wales, if they lose this one, 15 in a row. So Wales are going to lose this one.
That's horrific.
They'll lost 15 in a row. England are taking on Scotland for the Calcutta Cup. there's many cups in the Six Nations because they can't win the World Cup. So when the Six Nations comes together, it's like a G6. Everyone gets a bit of a chance. And then Sunday, Italy will be taking on France. So I think very predictable where the results are going to go this week. But next week, the next round is the big one because then Ireland will play France at home, and that will decide the Six Nations. Obviously, there's been so much rain in the country. A lot of games in the Betway Premiership have been postponed, or if they might even be cancelled because who knows with these schedules. So I don't know. There might still be games this weekend. Pirates are meant to be playing Cape Town City on Saturday at 3:30, and Sundowns are scheduled to play TS Galaxy 5:45.
All right.
English Premier League, that's where it's at, of course. James's team, Liverpool, I think have now lost their bottle. They're just not winning like they used to.
Ooh.
They had a disappointing draw against Aston Villa. Were kind of lucky, perhaps. So they are top of the log. And they're top of the log by, I think, 7 points. But they've got a game over the other teams now because they've caught up their matches. Leicester will be taking on Brentford tonight at 10 if you really want to get into it straight away. Brentford have actually been pretty solid the last few games. But tomorrow, Saturday, the big one. Everton versus Man United. Now, this is why it's big. Since Alex Ferguson departed Man United, there's been a string of oaks like Lily's love life. They've just come and gone. Offered nothing. There's just nothing happening there, right? It's amazing how we can bring Lily into everything. But David Moyes was one of the guys that was then pitched. So Alex basically said, here's my guy. He's also Scottish. He's not quite as drunk.
He's not quite as
but
ornery.
He's going to follow in my footsteps and be my successor.
Okay.
And he was okay. Like, when you look back at it now, under David Moyes, Man United weren't completely dog shit.
Okay.
Under Ruben Amorim right now, they are horrendous. Okay. So now Moyes is like getting a bit of a tune out of Everton again. And now they have this matchup. So there's always
high stakes for him.
There's always a side story, and Man United look terrible. And even like the players that they've sold who were shit are now doing so well in other places.
So then it is a management problem.
It's a place problem. So that game will be at 2:30. Ipswich will be hosting Spurs at 5, and then Arsenal versus West Ham at 5. That's a big one. And then Aston Villa, Chelsea at 7:30. But then Sunday, this is where we get into the real big stuff. Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest at 4. And then the big game, James is very nervous about this because Man City, although they got dicked against Real Madrid this week, Man City are hosting Liverpool in a match that Pep Guardiola's legacy will be hinging on. Not really, but let's make it sound like that. 6:30 on Sunday. If Liverpool don't get full points here, Arsenal do get full points. It makes a title race very, very interesting suddenly. And then the Champions Trophy. That is basically the Cricket World Cup cut in half. So it's only over like 2.5 weeks. It's 8 teams.
Okay.
South Africa will be playing today for the first time. They'll be taking on Afghanistan, who hate women.
Yes.
Never forget that, okay?
Yes, they hate women.
We said last week, this tournament, the Projects aren't going to win this, but they could have won some hearts. But they're going to go and just play, and because some causes don't matter. So that'll be today, 11 o'clock. Then tomorrow we've got Australia versus England, which is always entertaining at 11, and then Pakistan versus India. But because India runs world cricket, they're not playing this game in Pakistan where the tournament's hosted. They're playing in Dubai. Much nicer hookers, apparently. But yeah, India do whatever they want. So they just think we're never going to Pakistan because they call them goat fuckers and all kinds of other things.
Now the long years of many years of deep-seated hatred.
So put it this way, like they own cricket to the extent that we don't know where the final is yet. If Pakistan make it to the final and they play against Australia, then cool. It'll be in Pakistan. If India are in the final, then they'll just go, okay, guys, we got Dubai waiting for us.
It's amazing how much they control things.
That's money, yeah.
Yeah, India. Cricket is their bitch.
They've got all that control. And, Pakistan, actually, you guys need to fucking step up here. You finally get a tournament in Pakistan, okay, because obviously there was like people getting killed and it wasn't the most amazing place. But you got a tournament there. They were so limp in that first game against New Zealand. They were dog shit. You guys are going to be inspired by the fact that India is mocking you.
Yeah.
Come out there and
fight back.
Fight back. Like they're going to go to Dubai, drink a couple of Pepsis. They'll be limp again. But be better, Pakistan. Come on.
I love that India just going, we're not going to play in Pakistan. We take it to Dubai and we'll pitch.
And that's what they can do. So that's pretty much the sport for the weekend.
That's good.
We had a really good guest on the Bounce Show this week. We have it's going so well.
Yeah, you were doing so well there for a second until this brain glitch completely.
We had Brent Graham. Now Brent Graham is like he's a betting guru, right? So we had a huge show about betting. what to look for, what to do, what not to do. And then we actually go more into the ICC Champions Trophy there. So on the Real Networks YouTube channel, get the full show there with Brent. Awesome, just really great guy to chat sport with. He has a really cool story of how he got a bet wrong and then had to then take his family out for dinner, and he felt quite shit about it.
Congo Chris says, with regard to what you said about the local PSL, because of very bad, terrible things happening in the PSL, Trump has signed an executive order to give Kaizer Chiefs fans refugee status as well.
Oh, it's because they've been losing so much.
You come here, it's terrible, terrible things are happening. So that's what's going to go on there. Where can I send the tissues to your Man United co-host on the bounce? Says Jason.
Jason, he's going through some tough times because he's also a Chiefs fan.
Oh my God!
I don't think
poor Sandile. He really chooses.
He sure knows how to pick them. Yes,
he probably, knowing his luck, he'd be guy 101 with Lily.
He would be if Sandile got the straws, he would be 101 on Lily. But he was actually at the game this week. So Chiefs took on SuperSport United. Started this week. SuperSport United haven't scored more than one goal in a game since Lily was probably a virgin.
Oh my God, that's a long time
keep going, Lily. Yeah. And they scored 4 against Kaizer Chiefs.
Wow.
4.
Yeah, it's tough times
for
Chiefs fans.
And 2 of the guys that scored used to play for Chiefs.
The Mutaung family must be struggling.
I don't feel sorry for them. Paga for life.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, exactly. And that's the spirit of sport right there.
All right, so that's pretty much it for the first hour. I can't believe it's been an hour, but we've got lots of cool stuff for you, including I found this list of there's an artist who's come up with the most useless things, household things imaginable. Like, how do you take something that's really useful, like a fork, for example, and make it useless? Well, this artist has done exactly that. So I want you to see some of these pictures because it's really very, very imaginative.
Okay.
And I've got so much other stuff for you, including an optimistic take on Nosferatu.
Oh.
I watched the Nosferatu movie. I mean, the female lead, she spends the whole movie going. That's her the whole way through the movie. That's her facial expression the whole time.
Acting, eh?
Well, I mean, if you can keep that face no matter what's going on, yes, probably. So we'll get into that just now and a whole lot more. Plus, we got a guest joining us in the last half hour. Don't go anywhere. Good Friday morning.
Did somebody say slave?
Oh, no.
What a disaster once again. I'm 0-4 at FNB Stadium. But this is what you get, Kaizer Chiefs, for hiring a coach who can't speak English and who has to speak through his translator. Kaizer Chiefs, once again, I hate to use the F-bomb, but it around. I blame the family, and I'm throwing a real Kaizer Chiefs rant on this one. This is all your fault. We deserve better. Clip this and put this on, our Instagram feed for a little cut, because I really feel this is a strong statement from every Chiefs fan.
You know somebody's not a good person. He starts a rumor that I'm gay. Okay? That wasn't enough for him.
The problem is
he knows a lot of people. So he tells us to everybody. Sure. Some don't believe him, but the mark of a
gay guy.
The mark of an is that he then changed the algorithm by on his phone and laptop. He would search Trevor Gumbi gay. So anytime that anybody searches Trevor Gumbi, first thing that comes up is Trevor Gumbi gay. Because he's done it so often. It's the first thing that...
He's programmed the search engine.
Dog,
Nothing changed.
He's not a good person.
Nothing changed. He's still the same guy now. He doesn't still say he still does the same now in the office.
Let's look, actually.
Anyways.
Why are you gay?
Phela mina ngiyinsizwa mina. Ngiyinsizwa.
Okay, there we go. That's beautiful. There's Lily's child one day. I hope not. All right, Simphiwe's on her way back. She's, I think, in the loo.
Stuck in traffic.
We suddenly came back from a commercial break, and I didn't even realize we were back. Okay, so lots of things to talk about this week in the news. Come and have a seat, Simphiwe, please.
She looks like she's stuck on the other side of a busy
Come and
road.
take your place here. Don't you stress about anything. There we go. Simphiwe, we make Leanne always arrives late on a Monday. We make her do the walk of shame.
Oh, I hate it.
So don't worry. All right, so a couple of people here who want to know about some things. I realized a good bet is when you bet on the opposite of what Sandile bets on, say people after seeing the promo for the Kaiser Chiefs thing.
Well, see, that was one of the things about having Brent on the show. I asked him, like, what are the things people always get wrong? And one of them is being very emotional around your team. And the other one is chasing. So if you lose the first couple, don't suddenly go huge on this other game just because you want to catch up.
Really?
Yeah. It was a really fun show.
Bitcoin Butch says, at least Lily's child can look back on this episode to find out the truth. Yes, this is probably the only place that Lily's child will ever get the truth. And then Elon probably loves Twitter more than his own kids, says Straya Sathith 19.
Okay.
There it is. Look, I'm just making up that name.
Oh.
Gareth, I think you need to watch Emilia Perez, says that Don Kidde. Isn't that it's got all the Oscar nominations, right? And it's like some kind of musical about a transgender. I think I spoke about it on the show once. I don't think I'll ever watch that.
No.
I did watch Nosferatu, which is the, it's been made like, I don't know how many vampire movies we still need, but clearly there's a huge appetite for these. And this guy who directed this one, he grew up with this dream of making a new Nosferatu. Now, the original Nosferatu was that pale guy with the pointy ears.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yeah.
And the black and white movie and high collar and all that shit. Like, he was the original vampire almost. And the story here is kind of along the same lines. You sort of know this guy's going to go to a castle where there's an evil vampire. The vampire's trying to try and kill him. But in this one, the vampire wants really to bang his wife.
Oh.
That's what he's after. But this vampire, who's called Count Orlok, he's like literally been around for 300 years, and he's old as fuck, and he's rotting away, and now he wants to pork this guy's girlfriend, which is so gross. And I'm not going to spoil the movie in case you've never heard the story and you've been under a rock for the last 50 years, but it doesn't turn out that the vampire wins. I mean, he gets what he wants, but he doesn't win.
It's all about priorities.
Amazing how you managed to spoil the whole thing there. Well done.
I know. Yeah. Sort of like Lily. You spoil it. Since that's our theme for the morning.
Well, Lily can be in vampire movies too.
She could.
Hell no.
Okay, so then someone else wants to know about the guy who talked about white people being Neanderthals. Nota, I think his name is. I don't really have a lot to say about this. I like the fact that we live in a free country where you are allowed to express even stupid and shitty and hateful opinions. I don't mind. I would rather know how someone feels than have them force themselves to hide their opinions, and you only find out that they really hate you much later. So I'm all in favor of people having conversations about everything, even really, really disgusting, hateful things. I'd rather have that than have some government censorship that puts someone and their opinions into thought jail. And I don't really care. Like, this guy must think what he wants to think, right?
But he says a lot of... he's highly opinionated.
Who is he, by the way?
I
don't even know him.
He's some guy that was on a podcast, and he made a lot of claims about, I know this person, I've done this, that, I've been in the music game for like so long, I know everybody, I can make or break people. And then he started sharing like these stories of like behind the scenes of what really happens, and was like, oh my gosh. And then he just started having opinions about everything, like on some his thoughts on who was behind AKA's death and who orchestrated that. And he says
was that him?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's just shared a whole lot to a point where you either believe him or you don't. Like, that's it. Because he doesn't really have a lot of like evidence. He just talks. And that's not her. So
Maybe he's just high.
I don't know. Hey, he's
Maybe
been
he's
accused
high.
of a lot as well.
Sounds
So
like he's
I don't
unemployed.
know.
Sounds like he's unemployed.
Yeah, well, listen, these days you can literally be that guy from a podcast, and that can be your job.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
So there he is.
Yeah, he
that's
just
him.
speaks a lot. He just
Okay. Well, it says on that tag he's a speaker, so you're right, Simphiwe. I'm glad that we have confirmation there. It does say on the tag speaker. All right, so here are some implements.
Okay, cool.
If you could think of the most useless things, like you know how people often say, "Oh, you're a useless," you know. So here are some things that are truly a useless. Start with the fork, James, and this is a great look at that. Now,
wow.
that's no use.
That looks like a Cybertruck fork.
Yeah, Cybertruck fork, but you couldn't pick anything up with that, right?
Yeah, you got it's
That's not useful
and probably,
at all.
it's probably heavy as well.
Very heavy.
Oh,
Okay, here's another one.
no.
Look at this. There's a glass of wine. Now, no matter how you drink from that, you're going to spill.
That's funny. Well, you turn it upside down. It's fine.
Don't mess with a woman and a her wine. This is horrible.
Oh no, you'd have a lot of chicks with Chardonnay all over their blouse and that
Come
sort
on
of
now.
stuff. It's not good. Okay, and Chardonnay wouldn't be the worst. It would be much worse if it was like Cabernet Sauvignon. But let's just leave that alone for a moment. Then there's this. There's a ruler that only goes up to 1
Oh, there's a
centimeter.
penis joke in there somewhere.
All right, and then there's this. There's a bowl, but it has
But
a
it has a
hole
hole.
at the end of it. Yeah,
so you can't
well, I
have
mean,
cereal.
so I thought about this. This might actually be useful. Like, let's say you've got a salad and you want to drain off. Maybe someone put too much dressing on it or something. That could be useful, but mostly that's stupid because the whole point of a bowl is to
You
keep
can
the
put
liquid.
you can put a KFC family feast in there, and the oil will just drip
the
out the bottom.
oil. That's a very good point. That's a good one. All right, you see, so that's not totally useless.
I'll never forget that one time. And back in the day at the Cliff Central Studios, we got a family bucket, and we all try to have one piece. I've never felt so ill and just
Aw.
sad of life.
Then don't eat chicken licken.
I don't remember that at all.
It's too salty.
Because you take trauma and put it away. Mine lingers a little bit and comes back. The smell in that studio, it was like
Yeah.
Lily's Airbnb. We had to like open the windows for weeks.
Lily's Airbnb. This Lily's becoming a metaphor for everything. All right, here's some more
Sure.
useless stuff. Look at
okay.
this. There's a broom, but it's the part of the broom. Like you would have to be. There's no way to make that
That's
useful,
so funny.
right? Here's another one. A spoon, but the end of the spoon is covered.
So you can't eat
So-
anything.
So,
Oh,
can you
This
imagine
stuff
how
is
frustrating
hilarious.
that
oh
would be?
my word.
Right? It's almost like a little pocket spoon. It's very odd.
Please don't show this to Marv, guys. Like, he's such a prankster. He'll probably buy this for the office.
Yeah. By the way, Marv, I didn't realize, was the subject of so much of the Shady podcast where Trevor Gumbi was complaining about him.
Yes.
Marv is like, he's our work uncle. We
He's the
decided.
work
Yes,
uncle.
He's the work uncle. And his dedication to ruining someone's life is unmatched because apparently
Well,
he-
Trevor Gumbi said in that clip, he's not a good person.
Yes. So if you're wondering who Trevor was talking about, it is Uncle Marv.
Who
He's the
works
guy
with
who's
us.
behind, Trevor Gumbi gay. Like,
That's unbelievable.
Marv
What a
makes me so
vicious shit
happy.
thing to do.
Bob makes me so
Oh.
happy because I know I can never be the dirtiest person in the room when he's there. I could be saintly by just being myself in comparison to Marv.
Oh, okay. All right. Keep going with the useless stuff. And by
These
the way,
things are
Bitcoin
great.
Butch says, this is what I expect Temu products to be like.
oh,
That broom could be used for Steve Harvey's teeth.
oh.
That's a good point, Fiasen. Okay, then that chair was terrible. You imagine how uncomfortable that would be, right?
Well, actually, the car train benches are actually worse than this.
Yeah, car train benches are pretty terrible.
Sure.
Okay, then there's this salt and pepper, but you can't really, if the salt and pepper in those bottom parts, you're not going to get very much through the top parts.
Yeah.
Although, again, an artist has probably made those already and actually
Probably.
sold them at like high-end restaurants, and people are like, well, I don't really want a lot of salt. So that, I don't know. That's
I think
not
this
totally
is the least of
Yeah,
the.
but
Obviously
you
useless.
can't put salt or pepper into the top parts.
correct.
So yeah,
So that would be very frustrating. Okay, then Coffee mugs that are full and are joined at the handle. So you can't.
No,
No,
no.
that's just a disaster.
Don't mess with people and their coffee. Like, no.
Oh yeah, that's good. And then this one, a fork, but between the handle of the fork and the actual prongs is a chain.
This is so great.
So you'd never be able to put pressure on the fork. That's very frustrating. So anyway,
You must really hate someone. Like,
yeah.
to have thought of this. Like,
I mean,
he had someone in mind.
I almost want to buy these just as gifts and say to people,
They're so cool.
wouldn't it be cool as
It's
a
a
gift?
classy way of saying fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Here's your fork with a chain in the middle so that you can't use it ever. And I wouldn't even mind if, for example, you could make it out of like solid silver or something. Because it's expensive as hell, but it's useless.
And a gold-plated chain.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yo.
Those mugs are for couples who share a Facebook account. Oh, that's brilliant. Yes, and spot on. And there are still people who do this, hey? People who share like a Facebook account.
Oh,
We should really get them on the show somewhere.
They won't ever come onto shows like this because they know we'll just be merciless and
judge them.
basically judge and pummel them.
Some people are really proud of their weird shit, though.
No, but the thing is, they're proud of it because no one has called them out to say, actually, this is not the way you're supposed to be doing things. And so the minute somebody is like, they're going to be like, oh, did you bring me here to attack me?
I know I'm going to get into trouble here because it's going to sound like when we started talking about the all-girl airline. But I'm pretty sure that most of those Facebook and Instagram accounts that belong to couples, it's the woman's idea and she starts it. I don't think...
It's a bit cringe as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah.
Because you know what they'd never do is tell us why they broke up. They never give us like, for 5 years, you've been telling us, oh, Ben is so great.
Yeah, I've been
Ben's so
following
amazing. And he's bought me flowers.
Stan and Diana. I've been following the Stan and Diana Facebook account all this time, and you guys won't tell us why it's now suddenly called Diana.
Yeah, they should really have a release.
I'm so mad. That's the reason why I actually don't like those accounts, because you get me invested, unprovoked, and then chiggy, when you guys are going through it, you don't post, you don't give us an update, and then it's just like, we just grew apart, and
So
just
it should-
respect our time, and I'll be back. Just as Simphiwe. No, we want Simphiwe and Ben. Okay, thank you. Those are the people I fell in love with.
You're right, but then they must anticipate the speculation, so then make up horrible stories. Jeepers, like that guy Jeremy, who was such a drunk, and eventually he couldn't get it up, so
He used
that's
to
why
fart in
this
bed the whole time
he was
or whatever.
horrendous.
Yeah.
And you got to make that stuff up. Otherwise, what Facebook can do is, if you say end joined account, it says fill out release to proceed, and then you must actually write the release. So then it'll have little templates like sexual attraction 0 to 10 rates, where it was it ended on a 4.
That's fun.
That would be funny.
You almost like you have to leave a Yelp review or
You have to
a
the relationship.
of the relationship,
And then you can.
Wouldn't it be
forced us
fun?
to be invested?
Wouldn't it be fun if everybody on the planet was forced at the end of a relationship to fill in like a questionnaire and to review the relationship, and then you got to see both people's reviews side by side?
I'd love to do the reviewing. I just don't want anyone to review me.
Yeah, well,
Guys,
sorry,
I think
swings and
this would-
roundabouts.
I think this would be a thing. Okay, so obviously it needs to be a real relationship, so like more than 2 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
And then it goes on to like a public record, so that you don't get back together, because it's like, okay, cool, you want to go down this road? Here are your documents. You need to assess these. Have you overcome this? Have you done that?
I think useful also for people who follow up. So let's say you meet a girl and you think, well, she seems nice. Let me go and read what her exes have to say about her last 2 or 3 breakups. Then I'll know for sure. Okay. And similarly, she can check yours out so that you've really got very valuable information.
I mean, look, this is obviously not realistic and not healthy, but it's fucking funny.
It is healthy. I don't even know who I'm.
No, we're in society, but yes, this is hilarious.
It would immediately just spoil everybody's hope and chance of a happy relationship.
But you know, the fun part about it, at least I'd know if I'm getting into a relationship with a narcissist.
Yeah, because everyone's a narcissist, as you said last week.
Yeah, the
All right, so
narcissist block will be
I
ticked
feel
every
like
time.
we've been quite negative this morning. Here's a picture of Nosferatu. I've changed it slightly.
Okay.
So here it is. Where's the Nosferatu picture, James? There it is. I'm trying to be more positive. It's Yes-Feratu. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Not everything should be no, not Nosferatu. Yes-Feratu.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got much better chance of banging that guy's wife now.
That's what I think. All right. So Don Kitty says it should be called an exit interview. This idea of the reviews of.
So someone that works here, I don't know if you met her yet. I used to work with her at a previous agency, and her and her partner have an annual audit.
Really?
Yeah. What's working? What's not working? Who's doing what? And she's so proud of it.
Do they do like a
They have a sit
Excel
down.
spreadsheet and
They have a sit down and they go through the highs, lows, pros, cons.
wow.
So it's like, are we going to carry on? Are we reviewing this for another year?
That's amazing. It's like a contractual relationship you would have with your employer.
Fuck, I'd love to have a conversation like that
do
with
they
someone.
ask
It'd be
about
funny.
like the KPIs? Like, did you?
Yeah, they've got
Did you
them.
get better at this? Did
Totally.
you-
I think it's hilarious. If I ever get into a relationship again, I'd love to do that because I think it's entertaining.
Carl DeSantos says it's actually not a bad idea. If you think about it, we do more research on an Uber driver than someone we're about to bang. So,
Or give all our money to spend all our time with,
yes,
create offspring with,
Yeah.
go on holidays with.
no, you should actually take a little more trouble.
Okay.
But we have this thing, this fantasy that we'll just meet someone and we'll just be attracted to each other and we'll fall in love, and that takes care of everything.
Yeah, but it's also quite cool sometimes when you just roll the dice, though.
I think that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Because you don't realize until 2 weeks in that she is an axe murdering, bunny boiling,
and you know what? Probably be the best fuck of your life.
fucking litter in the head
Sure.
lunatic.
But
Falling for her now.
that
Yeah,
chick,
but now she's in your life.
that chick
And
will
if you
rock
get
your
rid of her
world.
now, she will murder you.
And
So
it's
you're
it's the risk you take for that.
Yeah, it's exciting. I tried that with my ex-husband on a monthly basis, but he lied and cheated.
Yeah, so there's also that.
Cecily.
The thing is, you have to bring evidence of like, did they get better? Did they not?
Yeah,
And
but if they're a deceitful person, they'll lie on their.
See, but relationships can be so fun like this. Just guessing, you try your best, shit goes wrong.
Oh my god! All right, I have something else to show you here. Quick.
okay.
So I think this is quite useful to know that, guys, if you're bald and you're in Mozambique, you could be in some trouble. Do you know why?
No.
So apparently, there's been 5 bald men in Mozambique who've already been killed. It's linked to a new superstitious belief that bald men have gold in their head. Okay, never forget that we live in a really stupid world where there are actually very, very backward people who believe all kinds of stupid shit. So if you're a bald man in Mozambique, just watch out, because there are people who think you've got gold in your head.
Who was the one bald man who had gold in their head to start this rumor?
I don't know, but there are people
Talk
who
about a gold head now. Like,
there are people who really believe in witchcraft.
yeah.
There are seriously smart people who, like, they burn shit and put stuff at their front door, and maybe they're the same ones who believe the bald men have gold in their head. It happens.
There's
It
a lot of
happens.
bald men, though. Bald men are very common.
But like, why would you think in their head? Because they're bald, so you can see, like,
I
if
mean-
they did any cuttings, or you know what I mean? Like, you could see. Like, I'd understand if you're like guys with good hair. It makes sense. They're hiding something. What? Come on now. Come on.
Well, here's another thing I didn't know. I didn't know about when they made Jurassic Park. There's a new Jurassic Park movie
Again.
coming. Another one. This is called, I don't know. They're all Jurassic Park World or something.
The last one I thought was quite good.
Really?
But the dinosaurs need to make land now. They need to get on a boat. They need to come back to the mainland.
I can tell you what, I'm over like the making remakes of really great movies, like The Lion King. Stop. Leave it
Yeah,
alone.
how many Lion Kings do we need?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
leave it alone. Make your own movies. Like, create things that kids can also be like, oh, I watched this and I was 10 and when this came out. Stop ruining things that I was like, oh my gosh, The Lion King, when I watched it, stop it.
Yeah, I agree. So they made a 112th Jurassic Park.
Ah.
But I didn't realize this. At filming the original Jurassic Park, apparently Steven Spielberg kept extra children. Where's that picture? He kept extra children on set in case they were eaten by the dinosaurs. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No idea.
I didn't know that. I thought that was a very
That's
interesting
fun.
Oh,
observation.
But you
there
see,
then.
Jeff Bezos and Amazon now own James Bond.
Do they?
They've got the rights, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So they can do whatever they want with the catalog and creatively going forward.
Is that a good thing or a bad
No.
thing?
Well, it's like, look, Disney fucked Star Wars properly.
And Amazon has technically taken
But Bezos, no, man.
Tolkien to pieces. I mean, they did that Rings of Power, which is mostly a fuck up.
Well, the thing is, like, when you have something like that at your disposal, you want to make money out of it. So then always the conversation comes, okay, well, who's the next James Bond, blah, 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 blah.
From the time that I think they're going to ruin it.
I think, yeah, probably
they're
they
gonna
will
ruin
ruin
it.
it.
They're gonna ruin it.
Unfortunately, the people who buy things sometimes aren't the ones who are good custodians of things.
Yes.
Like you almost need the biggest fans, right? Someone said to me the other day that he read Ian Fleming for the first time and he just loved it. And he said, this is way better than any of the movies, which I suppose is true for a lot of books, right? But people don't, they want the shortcut. And the people who buy these franchises, they just see a way to monetize. They use that word.
Yes.
Monetize things. And then it just gets bastardized everywhere. Before you know it, there are, child-friendly versions of this and like old people-friendly versions of that. And they're selling merch. And it doesn't add value to the original stuff, which is what people fell in love with in the first place. It's like what Simphiwe was saying about The Lion King or any of these other things. Let things be special where they have been special, and let's not try to monetize them across everything else.
So I agree with you completely on that. I will just, because my pedal is listening, I must take you on. I think it's an amazing opportunity for them to reinvigorate James Bond, almost redo it, because
like make Whoopi Goldberg the next Bond.
No. James Bond is a white heterosexual man. Okay, I'm not budging on, because you got to stick like Jurassic Park suddenly being about Labradors or about being about killer whales. That's the architect, like the spy guy of the day. Okay. But you can put him into Black Mirror scenarios now. So let's make James Bond like a little bit darker.
Matthew Dixon says, "I can't wait for Lizzo to be the next."
See, but that would ruin it for the sake of ruining it. I reckon they can make James Bond nowadays with like current issues. So
no, you see, that's what I don't want. Like, I don't want to watch my problems on TV. I really don't. And why we watch movies is to like escape from our reality. I don't want to see like diversification and equality and whatnot. I want to see someone doing impossible things.
I'm not suggesting that.
No, but that's what Bezos and they're gonna do, because he wants to be inclusive.
Let's stick with
and
me here. I'm not talking about that
money.
shit. Let's stick with my idea. I don't give a fuck about that.
Okay, but you're hoping against hope they'll do the right thing.
My idea is keep the essence of James Bond, but we've got modern day problems now that a spy in the mix of would be quite funny. Well, not funny, but like, so make a fucking whole thing about Gaza. I don't know. Make it about Ukraine. The first one's got to be James Bond going into Ukraine.
Or Davos with all the hookers.
Or Davos with the hookers. But you can put this oak into anywhere. And this, like, put him into South Africa. Like, he's got to now be a plant because he's got to take someone out. Or there's so much you can still do with James Bond, because espionage and all that kind of shit that was big in like the Cold War days, it's just changed into something else now. Maybe James Bond at Davos.
Get involved with Elon and help at Doge.
But
that's getting all.
But this
attention.
is it. So Elon is like this morphed into James Bond villain of days gone by into like whatever things are now. So you can make like that'd be the first movie, Evil Elon. Well, many people say he is evil already.
Right.
Evil Elon, and James Bond has to now thwart this guy, because now he's got control of like government systems.
Yeah.
There's so much you can still do with James Bond if you just.
If anyone from Amazon is listening, you should hire Ben to write the next screenplay. I mean,
really.
Honestly, that's the shortcut to success.
I have so much to give here, but James Bond is James Bond.
You love James Bond. I know you.
There was so much that was great about James Bond, because he revealed the world to many generations.
Yeah.
Cars, how to be a gentleman, how to dress, where to travel, how to not speak to women,
how to play games of craps.
Exactly. Be like, he was the original fucking main character, right? Everybody wants to be a main character in their life. That was, and all those movies depicted that.
I know that you guys hate it when I talk about the weather, but we've had an unbelievable amount of rain. And
a fucking tornado in Pretoria.
I know. So I went on to Uber in Centurion the other day. Just look at this quickly. You'll never guess what came up. Uber Canoe.
Wait, what?
Okay. It was 3 minutes away. And and I thought, okay, well, that's a new invention. So people are sharp.
But how is that area? How
my
is your
God.
river looking?
Dude,
Is it up to your wall?
river. It was one of my neighbors who's even closer to the river. He could have put a jetty out and launched
Really?
Uber canoe.
Shucks.
There was a huge big lake where once there was a golf course in front of my house. It's
Yeah, that golf
something
course
else.
is- But that's kind of great because it's flushed out all that.
Yeah.
The filth.
It has sort of washed some of the filth out of the river. I mean, the river's mostly rainwater now,
Mm-hmm.
but I think there's still a lot of poo in there. I think there's still a lot of dead things.
Give it a day, it'll come. Yeah,
There are
I'm
lots
sure.
of plastic bags, and there's like, it's still the worst river in the country, but it's a little better, and it doesn't stink so much.
But like that low-lying Centurion area by the cricket stadium,
oh yeah, big trouble. That place always just floods.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Anyway, Uber canoe, in case you're interested in it. And then one last thing I want to show you. I, in some ways, aspire to be this guy, this important man. I don't like small talk at parties and cocktail parties and meet and greets and, events where you have to say nice things to people and you really don't want to be there. So this is how I aspire to be. And I'm getting closer and closer to it. I'm obviously not as important as this man is, but this is where I want to be eventually. And I won't care anymore. And it's not far away. I'm thinking like 5 to 10 years max. Take a look.
I had to go and find someone more important than you to talk to so we can talk about important things.
No, you only played
Lovely talking to you.
Oh, I'd love...
You didn't play from the beginning.
Hello, I don't think we've been introduced. I'm Ingrid.
Hello, Ingrid. Hello.
So how do you fit into this evening?
Well, Ingrid, I'm a very important man. I'm a senior president of a major city institution.
Oh, that does sound important.
Yes, it is important. How about you, Ingrid? Are you important? Are you the senior president of a major city institution?
I'm afraid not, no.
Oh, dear. What a bore.
I look after the children.
Oh, you're not very important at all, then. You're just a housewife.
Well, it is quite important work.
Yeah.
Bringing up 3 children, or at least I think, anyway.
No, I'm not interested in your children, I'm afraid, or you. What does your husband do? Is he important?
Well, he's a senior trader in the futures market.
Oh, that is quite important, yes. They're not as important as me. I'm very important. Now, if you'll forgive me, I had to go and find someone more important than you to talk to so we can talk about important things.
Lovely talking to you.
Oh, I'd love to say the same to you, Ingrid, but I'm sure you'll agree it's been a frightening waste of my valuable time.
Okay. I really want to be like that one day. We just say to someone, nah, and they start talking, you go, yeah.
That's the
And
thing.
you
It's
walk
just like,
away.
yeah. I'm just keep saying yeah. Until you stop
I'm sorry,
talking.
I'm not interested in you or your children. I think that's the best way to be. It's horrible, it's honest, but it's great.
It's definitely horrible. I mean, she was trying. She was just like, trying to have a young conversation with the oak. And then this guy was just like, you're not important.
Some people
Screw
are
you.
horrible.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, how many times you go into events? That's how people actually are.
Yeah.
They'll say nice things and platitudes, but their eyes are scanning for the more important people.
Yeah, I'd rather they just opened up like this guy and told me straight up, I'm not interested in talking to you. But more importantly, I want to be him.
Yes.
Okay. When is Oscar coming on? No, he can't. He's not allowed to do any media because it's part of his bail conditions.
Also, don't think he'll choose
This
this
is-
one as the interview.
No, he
does.
won't come. Yeah, he won't come to our show first as his like tell all.
We had a soap opera around his fucking trial.
Exactly. Matthew Dixon says that lady who is suing Lyft would be a great James Bond. James Bond, a license to fry. Shame she's
Still at it, huh?
Yes, she is. And she's actually
she's still at it.
makes me quite upset.
Why?
Right?
Simphiwe?
Because she was basically.
What's her name? Dank.
Yeah, dang, she's some rapper.
No, she's a person who raps. I think when you say rapper, that suggests
Just
she's
find
actually.
a nice picture of her, guys, that everybody can remember. Go on,
Okay,
Simphiwe.
so this whole story is like she felt like the Lyft driver had already judged her
Yeah.
before like she was even
He
allowed.
had, because he was worried about the suspension and the tires. on
Good
his-
for him, right? I'm with the Uber driver on this one. But now she's suing the poor oak, and I think he's been fired because this is what the corporates do,
Yeah.
you know. But then she went on to the Breakfast Club,
Yes.
and then she asked for a bigger chair
Yes.
because
Yes.
she's big. She's literally a big girl. Can't fit in that.
She goes, is this the only chair you got? And then the one guy's like, oh no, we've got another chair. Oh, this better because I ain't gonna fit in that chair. Now, so she's basically undermined her entire case.
Yes, on
the
some
breakfast
you
show.
weren't going to fit into that guy's car, and you know what? I don't feel sorry for. If I did, I don't feel sorry for you now because you're not helping yourself. And then she's like in the interview, yeah, I'm a very active big girl. No, you're not. You eat too much. But yes. So I'm upset that she's suing Lyft. I'm upset that the guy got fired, or for doing the right thing, or for just saying, hey, my car can't handle you. Maybe somebody else's car can. And I pray to God that she doesn't win the case. That's it.
Have you got the picture of her? Yeah, she's something else.
Yeah.
So you get really irritated by the Lyft chick.
Because it's like okay, you're already like overweight, cool, sharp, do you, boo-boo?
By the way, what they brought her was a couch. It wasn't even a.
And it's massive, and she fills it up.
What, like where we're sitting in here?
Yeah, she fills it up.
She would
basically.
take up the whole thing.
Look at her.
Oh my God.
And those slimy lawyers that are actually encouraging her to do this.
Look at those
Shame on
slimy
you.
lawyers. Look at them.
Shame on you.
And those front hooks that she's got there, look how huge they are.
A man lost his job because of this lady. Because she doesn't want to be healthy. I guess I'm upset. I'm upset on his behalf.
Shout out to that jacket. It's doing the most. It's trying hard.
No, but look at the lawyers. I hate them just as much.
Yes,
Really
they're
do.
encouraging this behavior, and they're like, you know what's worse is that they're comparing this to racism. Like, it's not.
Yeah. The lawyer said something like, well, if you said you weren't going to pick someone up because they were black, that lawyer with the long greasy hair on the right, then you would go out of business. But the guy's car was likely to be broken. Look at her. She would break a car. I mean, if she got into a Bajaj,
it's done for.
Finished.
So imagine she ordered that, and then the guy's like, sorry, you can't fit in here. Like, you literally can't. And it's just like, excuse you? How dare you?
Look at her. She's wearing a belly top. Like, she's got a... Oh, for God's sake. Is that what she wore to
an interview? Yes. And that's the bigger chair. I'm highly upset about this whole thing. Highly upset. And they were trying to be so nice to her. They didn't say anything offensive, but you could tell that Charlemagne was holding it in.
So Carl DeSantis says, I see a future where John Steenhuisen has to contact these lawyers. Her biggest challenge are the zips. Imagine the strain those zips are under with her. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think she gets to the point where those zips have a chance. Those zips do not meet.
We should make roads out of her pants material. That's the strongest substance on earth.
Because of me.
She needs that fork on a chain, says Carol. I love it. All right. So what we like to do occasionally is to get people on the show who listen to the show and from fun, interesting places. And he's been on before. He's also kind of a big deal, our friend Flip van der Merwe. So he's on the line at the moment from France, the land of Brigitte Macron.
Is he the next correspondent on this matter?
No, he's not going to correspond on that matter because they'll probably kick him out of the country. We don't want that. But he made a name for himself with the Bulls, with Clermont, and of course the Bokke. We're talking epic matches, behind-the-scenes stories, and what his life looks like at the moment, what he's doing. So let's go to France because he's currently doing, among other things, management consultancy there in France. And here he is. Hey, Flip, how are you?
Bonjour. How are you?
Bonjour. Comment allez-vous?
Ça va très bien, merci. Et vous-même?
Excellent aussi, s'il vous plaît. Parfait. All right, so James always...
You did great until the end.
Until the end. What, parfait?
S'il vous plaît. You can't say s'il vous plaît is please.
Oh, that's right. I should have said...
I'm doing well,
I should have said, I should have said ça va bien. Merci. Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Right, got you. So you caught me out. Fucked up. Okay, so let's go. What's been happening with you, dude? I know that you check in with the show every now and then when you have a chance, and that's really cool. So hopefully we're keeping you connected to South Africa and all the craziness that goes on here. But you've obviously got friends and family here too. How's France?
Yeah, it's great. It's going well, and chapeau to you guys. I do catch up with the Real Network often.
Good, thanks.
I'm a big podcast fan. I'm a big fan of your show, Gareth, and your guests, and all the crazy commentary. I'm also a big fan of the Burning Platform. I think that's a real way to keep connected to what's happening in South Africa, and a real unbased political platform that we don't often get these days.
So tell me about the story that I don't even know if it's a big story in France, but certainly there are people making a noise about it. Like President Macron's wife, they say people like Candace Owens are saying she's actually a man. I mean, she's a lot older than him. I've never really paid much attention to her, to be honest. I know
that go straight into it, huh?
Yeah, no. I just wondered if this is even making the news in France.
It is. It is like in the use of the world, you do get a little bit of news, but there's limits to dating a MILF. It's like eventually they get old, and I think that's what's happening. He's becoming more and more irrelevant, and even so, politically in France, it's an absolute shit show.
But so you've been in France during a particularly good time, because obviously rugby is a massive sport in France. Ben was just talking about how they didn't actually do so well last weekend. But
2 weeks against the English, yeah.
Yeah, the English beat them, which is always embarrassing. I mean, the English shouldn't beat anybody at anything. But you've been there now to see South Africa win a World Cup in France, which is quite something. You know all the guys in the sport. And even though, I mean, you're still very connected to it. In France, it's probably at an all-time high, right?
Yeah, the rugby is definitely at an all-time high in France. It was particularly patriotic 2 years ago when the Springboks won the World Cup. So that was a great time to be a South African over here. I actually got I played a round of golf in the week following that famous quarterfinal where we beat France with 1 point, and one of the golfers that played with me at the second, first hole you tee off and everyone greets each other, everything's going well, and the second hole he just said, "Sorry, I can't play with you."
Really?
It's too raw.
They are so petty.
So, they are so petty about what's going on and what's the cheating, and I haven't seen if they released the team yet this week, but this weekend the French is going 7-1, the famous Russie mix. So that will be interesting. They're copying what's happening in South Africa. So
are you at all involved in anything to do with that? Are you still keep in contact with the other guys?
I was involved. I actually was president of a rugby club here for a couple of months. I helped some guys structure the takeover of a rugby club.
Wow,
that's the new way to go. That was quite fun until I got pushed aside because I wanted to be too honest.
That's because you're South African.
Yeah,
it was the same guy from the golf course.
It's the same dude who wouldn't play golf with you.
It is probably that. And other than that, I stay a big fan of rugby, so I try and watch it wherever you can. Rugby is quite a big thing over here, so they regularly get like 20,000 in the stadiums are full and singing, and it's quite a good vibe to go to a rugby match over here.
And what's it like being in business in France? Because obviously, like your French is pretty damn good, but do they do things differently to South Africans? I mean, usually if we're in business with people, you take them out for a meal, you maybe invite them around for a braai, you do South African type things with them. How does business work in France, and especially in something like what you're doing now, which is management consultancy?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. So those power dynamics are very much the same and very much different than they are in South Africa.
Yeah.
We do drink a lot less brandy, and the French, the old lazy streak, don't leave them. It's difficult to get something over the road. Where in South Africa we're quite used to making deals and making them quite fast. The people make decisions and they're not scared to put their heads out. In France, it's more of a you have to work really hard to get someone that takes the responsibility to make a decision. So that's something that you have to the bureaucracy of
and what you guys have like 400 out of 365 days of public holidays, right?
Yeah, exactly,
Something like
exactly. And 2-hour lunches. So it's difficult to get the work done in a day. But no, it's interesting. And recently actually been helping a couple of South African companies establish their markets over here in France. And it's
that's cool.
It's a market hungry for good solutions and modernizing a lot of the technology. You know, a lot of things happening in South Africa is way far ahead. For example,
I'm pleased to hear it.
For example, cloud technologies, banking solutions, fintech payments, etc. It's way further ahead than in France. Yeah.
You see, I like this. I like that we can sometimes be the leaders and that other countries get to follow our lead, because we only ever hear the bad news. And we're always worried here in South Africa that the only thing that you guys know about us in places like France is that we've got these crooks in the government, that that there's skullduggery and ugliness and crime and violence and all that stuff. But actually, there are lots of things that make South Africa quite sellable, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, it is. Well,
and we
all
have
these.
Don't we have a reputation also for being hardworking and getting shit done?
Definitely. If you go outside, if you go to the UK and the Netherlands and Germany, then they want South Africans working there, especially in the accounting industry and the manual labor industry, because they know South Africans get things done, and we find solutions. That's always an important part, and the reason we have all these corrupt officials everywhere, and that's why in fraud tracking we've got some of the best solutions in the world. So
see, we've got better because we've got better crooks.
Well, and that's the thing, iron sharpens iron.
Yes, exactly.
So Flip, how often do you come back to SA though? Because I mean, France can be the most amazing thing in the world. Like, there's always home is home, right? So how often do you actually make it back here?
Well, I try and come quite often. So the game plan is now to have more clients, South African clients. So they pay for the airplane tickets, but still have my family in South Africa. So still keep an eye on what's going on, and still obviously have a lot of my friends over there. So I need to come over and have my braai and brandy reserve, and it's like you guys going to Pretoria every now and often. I need to go there and just have my reality check. And
but that's exactly why we're asking, because let us know, and then we'll go to Stoetpool on Saturday. We'll go watch a game at Loftus.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know.
We'll play some golf, have a proper weekend.
Yeah, the boys' weekend. That sounds great. Huh?
All right, so here's a couple of comments here. There's some people. Can we send you flippin' lacquer spices? Viva la braai revolution, says Kevin Harris. Do you guys get to braai? I mean, the weather's often quite shit, but do they know what that is? Le barbecue? Do they actually? Do they have some appreciation for that? And do you get?
Yeah, it's getting on, and slowly but surely we're changing. Neighbor by neighbor, we're changing everyone to understand what a barbecue is. And we get quite good weather. I'm on the southwest coast, so there's some good sunny days, and definitely don't have the built-in braais and the braai rooms that we have in South Africa yet, but I have like a normal Weber, and that does the trick. Really, I love a braai whenever I have to. I'm a big South African guy. I need my meat.
So something I think you have the opportunity to clear up here, because a lot of people who've traveled to France think the French are very grumpy people and that they're nasty to tourists. And I don't know that that's true. I just think that they're used to dealing with a lot of Americans, which would make anybody grumpy, frankly. Yes. Especially American tourists. So what's your experience of the French people? Is there a difference between the ones in the north and the south, for example? Are the Southerners a bit more friendly? What is Paris's reputation, and does it deserve that reputation?
There's definitely a massive difference between the different provinces of France and where the people come from, and even their accents and the way they live. And someone from Marseille would not react the same way as someone from Bordeaux in the same situations, and culturally what they do at table and stuff. So that's actually quite interesting to learn. And we see our South African origins from the French, the the way we do things, and and eat, and the chronicle order of how a day goes. It's very much the same as in South Africa, actually. And
there are places in South Africa like Franschhoek, where they actually, I mean, the whole place was basically founded by French Huguenots who were running out of there.
Yeah. So in terms of the tourism, is actually it's everywhere, because we live in the south. We even get Parisians here, and then we can't stand Parisian people coming over here because they're on holiday. We need to get there, and they drive slow and they look around, and so it's just irritating to have them. But then the language stays a massive thing. The average person on earth can't speak French, and the average French person can't speak English. And it's very much like in South Africa. If someone speaks Zulu to you, and then about the fifth time they say something you don't understand what they're saying, then you go on your merry way. So I think the language barrier becomes quite a thing, where the French just get.
Somebody in the comments wants to know: do they have buckies there? I mean, do you drive a bucky? You actually they are so very petty that you're not allowed. You're allowed to drive a cab and a half, but a bucky you have to pay tax because it's heavy. Oh, really?
Yeah. No, it's.
Oh my God!
It's something you would particularly like, but now they're trying to pollute less on the roads, so they've got these zones that you have to buy a sticker for €3, and if your car pollutes, if you put a sticker, then obviously that solves the solution.
You're suddenly not polluting anymore. It's just
now you're driving.
Why
in a
isn't
bubble
the
and
weather changing when I'm paying government all this tax?
No.
Carl wants to know, Flip, are you planning to become a refugee in the USA? Because you've heard Donald Trump said there's some terrible things happening to very certain people, and we're going to let them come here as refugees.
No, I'm actually very much on the opposite side. I would love to come back to South Africa. I would be back on the first boat if everything is correct. Jobs aren't handed out freely in South Africa, so you have to plan it very carefully. But yeah, I think globally, South Africa stays the best place to live in terms of the people and the people you work with, and outside of journalists and politicians, it's actually a very lucky place to stay. So a lot of opportunity, and take it what you want. But the GNU actually worldwide looks very much the most stable government at the moment.
Let's hope so. All right, listen, nice to see you, and keep in touch with us, and thanks for being a contact for us in France when we want to find out what's really going on. I mean, Sims was only really interested in the Brigitte Macron thing.
That's it.
Because that's her story of the week.
Yes.
But thanks so much, Flip. Nice to see you, man, and we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Very nice to see you, and have a great weekend.
Good stuff. There's Flip van der Merwe out of France. He says the southwest of France. So we've only got a couple of minutes left of this, but I did need to throw this story in for Ben and Simphiwe's good this morning, and I thought this might be an interesting thing for us to just throw around right at the end. So apparently they arrested a guy who's a friend of Liam Payne. Remember the guy who jumped out of the window, One Direction?
Oh, right, yeah, One Direction.
And 2 hotel staff members were also arrested. All the charges against them have been dropped. The 2 men accused of supplying the singer with cocaine are still facing prosecution. Payne died in October after falling from a hotel balcony. This guy, who's his friend, was denied, who has denied, rather, being Payne's manager. He said, "I'm not his manager." Expressed relief at the decision, stating he was just a friend. Prosecutors may still appeal, but for now, the hotel's head of security and chief receptionist are also cleared of charges, while the remaining suspects could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted. Don't you think it's unfair to blame the dealer?
Absolutely. Really unfair.
I mean, if we start putting dealers into jail for all the stupid shit that drug users get into,
then we won't have drug addicts.
No, drug addicts will find a way to fuck up their life somewhere else.
The stuff. It's just the dealer can't be blamed. I really have a problem with this.
I disagree, because who's supplying them? You don't become an addict because
okay, so what,
you woke up like that. No,
do you want to blame SAB for domestic abuse?
but somebody went and sold you this. They were like, "Oh, try it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna have such a
No,
great
the
high."
dealer
Oh,
doesn't.
but
No, the
Simphiwe,
dealer's
it
not-
wasn't like,
the
go
dealer
try
doesn't
this next
set
to an
up-
open window.
Okay, the dealer doesn't set up a stall on a Saturday in
Oh,
the
it's a corner.
golfing
Oh, in
golfing
Marvel.
estate, and he goes, "Have you ever tried? Don't you want to try?" He's selling to already converted customers. Okay, the dealer's not like out there marketing. The
Either
dealer's
way,
just supplying.
he doesn't say, "Don't buy this." Okay, he's probably like, "I got the best goods for you. In fact, I'll give you." You know,
No,
if-
it's because there's not like a. Okay, I'm gonna go on to reviews again. We're talking a lot about reviews. I'm gonna go and check out the reviews on all the best dealers in the neighborhood, and I'm gonna choose the guy who's got like 5 stars. People find
0
a dealer.
suicides, this guy.
Yeah. People find a dealer, and then that's their dealer. They're not like trying to outprice or outmarket each other.
Yeah,
So-
because what they do is a monopoly. He'll go to a neighborhood and make sure he's the only one who can deal there. And if anybody else tries to compete, which we've seen, they get rid of those people.
You would be a ruthless dealer. You'd be ruthless.
She'd be ruthless with the
Right?
whores and Davos even.
But what I'm saying, this is what happens. Like, if you think about it, in Melville, in South Africa, you go to a corner and there's a guy. And if anybody else tries to stand with that guy, is an issue. They fight for turf. So all I'm saying is I understand. You the
So
guy.
you think that these dealers or
Yes.
the dealer who supplied Liam Payne with cocaine,
Mhm.
which he was going to get anyway.
No, because they make sure that their clientele is their clientele.
No, but
I mean, he
he
would have
was
found a
remember,
way,
in
though. He
foreign
would have just
country.
he would have had another friend who knew.
There would have been someone else, or he would have asked the hotel guys, which is probably why they were arrested.
Okay.
So you know,
the markup on the hotel guy is
like-
crazy though.
filthy pop stars, okay? Fucking pop stars who go to countries and want drugs are going to get the drugs.
Yeah.
And it's not the dealer's fault that this lunatic jumped off the balcony. Okay? He didn't know his limits. And he is
he's been
ultimately
thinking about that.
responsible.
Yeah.
Like, no one killed Liam Payne but Liam Payne.
Yes, it wasn't the drugs.
It was the drugs.
It was not
The
the
drugs told him to like jump off the balcony.
No, maybe you should try drugs because no drugs ever told me to do
They
anything.
don't tell you anything.
On the few occasions I've
But
taken
they
drugs,
give you the
0
energy
words.
or thoughts or whatever happens when you're
And if it was
high.
cocaine, I don't think it makes you. I don't think there's ever been an occasion where cocaine made people feel worse. It's supposed to. The whole point of it is it's supposed to.
It's
make
a high,
you feel
and you
better.
think you can do
So-
anything.
Yeah, but
So-
not do anything that's going to kill you. Do anything that might attract the like hot chicks or
Yeah.
make you funnier
He would have
or
been
dance
chasing the
better.
fun.
Yes, and the fun was down
No,
over the
that's-
balcony.
That's not fun.
Unless, of course, the cocaine made him think that was faster than the stairs. That's a possibility.
But again, I don't think the cocaine would have done that. That's a
It's
different kind of
just-
drug that
But
might
you
have
see
done that.
who, this is why I'm saying we should blame the drug dealers, because it goes back to the drugs. Like, we're looking at how the drug affected him, right? What did it do when it was in his system? And you're saying he was in a foreign country, so this is a different kind of drug that he's not used to.
No,
you know what I mean?
Crocodile.
And then he was just like, oh, yeah, we jump. He did all of that because...
No, I think he was just miserable and depressed, and that's why he was going to kill himself anyway. And I reckon if he hadn't
the
got
drugs
the drugs,
assisted in that.
I think if he hadn't got the drugs, he would have jumped anyway as well.
Then we
because
could
then
have
he would say,
blamed him
"Oh,
properly then.
Oh, not getting more drugs," and then he would have jumped off the edge.
It would be extra sad. At least he died happy.
Come on. No, he didn't die. He didn't die happy. He was miserable in any case.
Oh, but that little bump.
You know, the funny thing that they've discovered, this is not even controversial anymore, about SSRIs, serotonin uptake inhibitor, whatever they are, SRIs. These are the antidepressants that everybody's on. Like 1 in 5 South Africans is on antidepressants. That was a statistic someone threw at me once. I don't know if it's true. There are a lot of people on antidepressants, and they've proven that serotonin, the thing that these drugs are meant to be replacing, does not make people less depressed having extra serotonin, but they're still on the drugs. And if you talk to people who are on antidepressants, you said, and these things are like sugar pills. They get furious with you. They're like, "No, I need my pills," because they're drug addicts.
Well, they need to be reliant on something because it can't be their problem.
Correct. You know, I know once said that you don't treat the disease by treating the symptom.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of these things, whether it's Liam Payne jumping off the building because he got bad drugs, or because he really, really needed the drugs, or because he was depressed and the drugs would have made a difference.
Sure.
We treat the symptoms instead of the disease. And for many people, a feeling of purposelessness, loneliness, sadness, despair, those are the real issues. But we treat depression, which is a manifestation of one of the symptoms of being in despair. You know, despair means you don't have anything to live for. And if you address that problem, then downstream from that, you'll address the depression. But that's the real issue. So again, I don't think that these poor dealers or this dealer, I don't think this guy needs to be brought into all this shit.
I agree.
He was like, there's some pop star, some filthy pop star who's probably going to harass me when I drop off the drugs. But I'm going to take them because I'm making a 10% on this deal. You know, it's like blaming the Uber driver for the Lyft woman looking like she does.
But in that case, he did get blamed and got fired.
With her, it's like blaming the Uber Eats driver for all the deliveries he's made to her house the last 7 years.
Yes, you should have said no and rejected. You have a right. Fun fact: when it rains, Ubers decline when you order.
Do they?
Yes, they do. It's so hard for you to if you try to request any food or whatever on Uber Eats, they decline it when it's raining.
I wonder if South Africa's lost weight this week because of that. Because of
all
the rain.
I'm saying is you can say no, and when you have the power to say no to someone and you don't, then you're just liable.
You can't say no to a sale. If you're in a line of business, you can never say no to a sale. Otherwise, why are you in that business?
The Uber drivers do it when it's raining because they're the ones.
Because they don't want to die, and maybe your house is somewhere dangerous.
But that's what I'm saying. That's a sale, right?
It's his livelihood.
But what I'm saying is you as Ben want to buy food, right? And in order for him to make money, he needs to go take that food and deliver it. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to do that because I want to live for another day.
To make more money.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
But maybe the point is, and this is the question we need to answer, is do you think that Liam Payne's drug dealer being arrested is going to put off other drug dealers?
Not the slightest.
No.
Because maybe others will be less likely to deal drugs in case the person they're dealing the drugs to dies.
No, because people don't care. So no.
I think you're particularly mean about drug dealers this morning. I just want to put that out there. I think these are hardworking people.
Drugs, kids.
I think these are hardworking people, and Simphiwe is blaming the symptom, not the cause.
No, don't encourage a kid to be a drug dealer, but also appreciate what they were doing in life. People are going to find drugs somewhere. Don't do drugs. Another thing. But don't blame the dealer. That's childish. It's just childish.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great note to end on. And we're done. Thank you very much, everybody, and have an excellent weekend. Hopefully you get some sun this weekend, and you can even go and watch those Oaks fight at Loftus if you can. Are you keeping you up, Ben? Ben just gave the biggest yawn.
No, I didn't. You
Yes,
know, proof.
Cool show today. Cheers. Lekker weekend. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Gustav. Bye, everybody.
In mijn leven al heel vaak gedonder. Met lelijke Linda, eens was ze bijzonder. Ze zei dat we hielden, zo van elkander. Maar voordat we trouwden, had zij al een ander. Ik wou niet de worden, daar is ze gegeven. Er is er nog nooit in bij haar gebleven. Dat niet aan mij lag, dat zul je wel weten. Je hebt er in die tijd al heel wat versleten. Is was ze de mooiste, een lelijke Linda. Ja, lelijke Linda, want iedereen zinda. Ze zei dat we hielden, zo van elkander.